come with this next match. We saw them in the last game. We're moving right into the draft here. I do believe BOM going to be on the red side. So they're going to have, they're going to be able to counter pick here as they did in, I want to say the last series. I'm going to see how well UH kind of can maintain. They really didn't have too many mistakes. I'm not sure that, I don't know. It's kind of a mark of some of those more successful teams. Do they have another plan that they can go with? Or are they just going to kind of go with Old Faithful? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that Nolan pickup was, I want to say, pretty important. Even with the nerfs that we discussed earlier, he's still kind of a menace out there, especially once he gets going.
Absolutely. We do see a Franco pick, Franco ban first out, Kaja ban popping up too. They definitely didn't want to play with that. Whenever it comes to these teams, I always say there's two ways that you can draft your team, right? You've got your reactive teams and your active teams. You're either making plays happen with your team and trying to make the other team adjust, or you're the guy who's saying, you know what, pick what you want. It doesn't matter. We're going to make it happen. And we have seen the BOM being very capable of being a reactive team and adjusting and making things happen. And we do now see them on the red side of the map, getting to react more fluidly to the blue side picks. I hope to see them make something happen with it.
Yeah, the interesting thing for me was a lot of these engagements when it came to BOM, when it came to these Lord fights, is you had Leo. They were really kind of hinging on Leo to make a play. When it comes to these Kufra, when it comes to these Lord dances and a Kufra, you really want your jungler or your tankiest hero out there initiating onto the Lord. This brings out the rest of the enemy team to kind of, they want to engage it. They want to stop it. They want to be able to push onto it. That's when Leo is supposed to come in, make the set, and make that possible. We saw a lot of points where the entire team was just kind of waiting for Leo to kind of make that engagement, and it really kind of put them into the late game, into that point where Clay TZ wasn't as effective, and where these fights were really kind of out of their hands. If something needs to change for BOM, it's going to come with initiation or being able to get that early focus and get that early advantage and kind of keep running with it.
I absolutely hear you. And I do think it was such a really cool point that you made. Leo with the Kufra was diving in and he was making plays happen. And even in the match, we were talking about it. He's diving in just a little bit and he was trying to make something happen, but his teammates were just a little bit behind. And because they weren't there, the whole team got punished for it. Whether it might not have been in them all losing out on deaths, but them were having to readjust their rotations. It didn't allow them the fluid movement that they were looking for. So I do think that you saying that they were hinging on Leo being able to effectively initiate and take control of those initiations to be effective in their team fights is a really key and I think cool concept.
Yeah, we're going to see here. It does look like UH kind of sticking with the same bands. Definitely that focus onto Leo and then taking away Boxia. Definitely, they really kind of are gearing Clay TZ towards that Martis pick. They definitely just wanted to pick up. I think they have the answer for it. You saw how well they were with their positioning, being able to avoid the mortal coils, avoid the decimations, to the point that by the first time they were actually having a Lord fight, Clay TZ was 1-3, and that's definitely where you don't want to be on a Martis who shines in the early game and has trouble basically everywhere else. We do see that respect ban coming out. Kaja immediately taken off the board by BOM. We're going to see where this first pick goes for UH.
Absolutely. I do want to know your opinion on this. Do you think that they're going to try to bait out another Kufra from the side of Leo? Do you think that they want to fight that again, or do you think that they're going to try to team comp pick away from that?
I don't feel for me personally, I don't feel like Kufra was the problem. Like I said, it was the entire team effectiveness. You don't always, just because you have a Kufra on your team doesn't mean you need to wait for him to make a successful pick, especially when you're around the Lord dance where everybody's hiding and you're basically just hoping that Leo catches somebody in a bush with a Tyrant's Revenge. You want to go be the aggressor, go out there, get that Lord, especially in the early game when you're on a hero like Martis, get that Lord started, draw out the enemy, let Leo have the comfortability to hide and pick where he wants to go while they has him distracted. Because when you're going against a Kufra, everybody's hiding, everybody's keeping their distance, everybody wants to make sure that they don't get caught, and you need to make those openings for him.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the team comps right now, and I do, in my own opinion, I'm not a big fan of the Yuzong picked with the Fredra, not because of the characters themselves, but because of the way that they picked it. Fredrin is one of the characters that is very capable of flex picking and is very capable of either going EXP or jungle, but with having picked them both side by side, S1, S2, it's very clear to see, who's going where. So I do think that they should have spaced out those picks a little bit more. But nonetheless, we do see a Clint and another Nolan in the hands of Ari. How is BOM going to respond?
It's going to be very interesting, especially because of the Kaja ban, they let through the Matilda. And I think they're going to find out exactly why the Matilda was banned in the first game already, especially when I feel like she shines with less, especially you have a Clint on your team. He's not as mobile, dishes out a whole ton of damage, but what he trades that in for his immobility. Even the small dash that he does is like probably the smallest in the game. And with a Matilda, you're going to give him that escaping power, and especially he's got a flicker on there as well. You have a Nolan already who's already a slippery assassin to try to catch on, and you're giving him even more escapability with that Matilda as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we kind of counter with that here. I would love, and we've already got our XP laner. I would love to have seen a Phoveus out here. I'm not sure. It's a very niche pick that not a lot of teams really are comfortable on. But if you can get a Phoveus to that mid game, he is so able to punish so many dash heroes into this game. But it's a very tricky hero to play in the same way that Nolan can be a tricky hero to play.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. We are coming to Sarah. We're going to see the hopefully some nice mage bans. I do think that the mid lane for the side of UH did such a good job at managing and holding off in that early part of the game, especially to the point where they were able to take that first mid. We do see a Valentina ban, which is one of my favorite characters to see banned because she is such a versatile mage.
Well, she's not just versatile, but she also pretty much complicates. She basically changes around everything that you want on your team, because now you also have to think about what ults you're going to be giving to her. Other things on the field still are the Novara, Lilia's still out there, Faramis. Still some great picks to be able to utilize well. Ooh, and then the respect ban, that Lilia taken off the board again. The interesting thing for me is we picked up this Lolita very early here, but there's not really much I guess she kind of counters some of those abilities that come out from Matilda. Some of them, I guess, from Clint as well, but I guess we'll have to see out here. I just think it was very early to pick up the Lolita. Maybe they were afraid that they were going to just get outbanned again.
I do think that it was a little bit early on the Lolita, but nonetheless, I do think that not enough credits going towards Lolita's capabilities of reflecting almost all of the directional damage that Clint can do. The ultimate rockets that he's shooting out, just like that, reflected. His burst damage, just like that, did. And he doesn't want to sit there and take that damage. So I definitely can understand the concept behind picking the Lolita, but was it too early? Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you bring up a good point too, because Clint's are not some of those abilities that you can kind of like deflect when you see it coming. Like if you reflect the star power lockdown from Cyclops, you're going to see that coming back at you. When Clint stuff gets reflected, you're immediately getting that right back in your face. Like there's no dodging it, there's no getting out of the way. It's immediately going to come back at you. So yeah, it's a very interesting pickup here. Ixia taken off the board again, but still some decent mages out there. Definitely want to see what Fish. I was not sold and not as impressed with his Odettes that I saw from last game. I mean, that was probably the first pick, and a very odd pick too, for somebody who was basically so successful on every other mage that I've seen him on playing here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said it before. The Odette, you weren't a big fan of it. I held out hope, and you know what? I had to be the guy who is wrong, and that hurts. But it is what it is. Fish does lock in a Kagura, though, one of my favorite mages, of all time, because of how versatile they are within their burst damage and their ability to be mobile. I do think that she's almost in any composition a good addition.
So interesting thing here, Uranus. We don't really have anything to shut him down. Maybe we might look for a Brody, somebody who can capitalize on that early game to hopefully be able to help with the chunking here on this team, because this is what we are very much lacking right now, is a lot of that early game damage. We're putting a lot on the shoulders of Fish Gaming here to land those umbrellas, to get those yin yang overturns, and especially if you play Uranus correctly, you're cutting lanes early game. You're basically in the enemy base, soaking up towers and roaming around. And I don't see anything on their team that's going to be able to counter that in the early game, to be able to punish him. And then once you get to a late game, it's GG when you have a fed Uranus.
How about that Faramis pickup? How about that? So that same explosive energy that you're talking about that Uranus is capable of, and not having anybody who's going to be able to effectively shut him down. Now top that off with a Faramis, and you're in a lot of trouble. If they don't pick somebody that's capable of locking down this Uranus and preventing him from just scaling and mobbing over the map, I definitely think BOM is going to be in a lot of trouble.
We're going to pick up the Beatrix here. A very interesting choice. He's going to have the range on the Clint. It's going to... and when it comes to a lot of these drafts, I'm in favor of UH right now. I feel like BOM, they have a lot of boxes they need to check right now to be successful here. Keontae dope. I would love to see him on something else. If they could open up that Terizla, maybe another XP laner that could kind of help out. I feel like his dragons have been they've been coming a little late. It just depends. Like I said, it's all about execution. This being the game 2 of 5.
I do absolutely agree. I do think that the team composition does go in favor of this matchup. The versatility is undeniable, and their characters, as long as executed well in their capabilities and playing within their own respective strengths, I do think that BOM has got some work they need to do.
It's going to be very interesting. We talked about it. This is going to be game 2, the grand finals. UH Varsity taking on Bring Out Madness. Our Bring Out Madness going to be able to take a game off of UH here. We're about to find out.
Oh man, Faramis and Mathilda already showing a little bit of face. They're face checking, meeting each other again. I said it last match, they're shaking hands and they're reintroducing their new characters to each other. They love to do this between these two matchups. We do see a little bit of a handshake going on between the Yuzong and the Uranus down there, but that's not a matchup that Yuzong is going to want to commit to, especially within the early game.
Well, it's a very delicate game of trying not to give him stacks and also trying to burst him down. Fish Gaming locking onto D-Guy, who's going to be able to get away. That slippery Matilda. That's the value that you get out of it. No kills for anybody just yet. One game up for UH, and both teams being very patient about their engagements.
I do think I do think that the sooner that the Uranus does end up picking up a dominance ice, I do think it'll be it's going to make things very difficult for the team of BOM, just because that Fredrin is going to be so dependent on his ability to re-heal up, you know, to secure the extra health from that ultimate and from just his normal gameplay, as well as the U-Zone. A lot of their characters do come from a sustained or from a sustaining field point, like the Fredrin and the U-Zone, just such good characters for staying in a fight.
It also depends on when that Uranus kind of is being effective. If he dives into the midst of them, they can pretty much CC him down. They have enough on their team to be able to do that, but it's going to definitely kind of, like I said, on the shoulders of Fish Gaming here. Big pullback. Leo able to stifle that off. And doesn't like Fish is about to get the level 4 here in time for this first turtle. You can see them. Oh man, actually a great job by BOM. D guy coming in here. They're looking for an opportunity. Praiser's Wrath. Clay TZ able to find and secure the turtle soup for dinner here tonight. D guy gets caught by Fish Gaming. A great yin yang overturn followed up by that Numenon blast from Leo.
Yeah, a beautiful helm up on the side of BOM. I loved seeing them, you know, finally getting that initiation on an objective. You know, we saw it the last game, you know, they weren't doing enough on top of the objective. So them starting that, it's a good sign, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny to me when it comes to these engagements too. The one thing is though, is once you get the objective, once you get that advantage, is are we making something happen? As I say that, Keontae Dope in a little bit of trouble is going to have to back off, doesn't expend anything. So still in a good position right now. 1 kill to bring out Madness.
Yep, this 4 is even right now, 9,000. You know, they're panning out pretty equally, even with the first turtle being in favor of Bring Out Madness. We do see Lolita starting to face check and keeping an eye on that Mathilda, giving good vision to Clatesy and Saro locally.
Yeah, and you can already see there's a little bit of that reflective damage. Leo goes in, finds a stun onto D-Guy, who's going to walk right into Fish Gaming. Umbrella is out, but misses just wide. D-Guy able to find himself an escape while BOM takes out their frustrations on a poor Lethal Wanderer.
Poor Bulbasaur.
He didn't deserve it, just minding his own business. And McKee gonna go ahead and find himself a little bit of an escape there at mid. So now 13 seconds until Turtle. Bring Out Madness looking to make something happen here at the bottom lane.
Ari does lock in the cooldown reduction boots, which is gonna early game give him a huge advantage in not having to wait for his moves to pop off. I think we're gonna start definitely seeing some damage spikes in his favor.
You see a lot of pressure coming up at top while we start on this turtle. Ooh, we might actually get it. You see Zero might be in a little bit of trouble. Caught. There is the hiding winds comes out. Zero flickers, but this is a bad move, and that's going to be all she wrote. They actually might be able to take this tower while Bring Out Madness focuses on this turtle. Canyon goes in a bad way between 3 members of Bring Out Madness, but still able to come out. Numenon Blast lands down. They are still trying to put the CC on the Canyon, who is withstanding, looking for an escape. They dive under the tower. They are not able to pick up the kill, and that is the value. Canyon, look at him already back at half health. What a play and a great maneuvering there from UH, and Seth picks up a kill on Zero at the top.
Let's just take a second and recognize just how durable Canyon's Uranus is. He's taken all the pressure from the Yuzong and managed pressure from a 3v1 and just walked away like it was not a big deal.
Yeah, and it's very interesting there, and this is the problem. So I said, like, you need to be very early with those objectives, take them down, be able to kind of help your lanes there. Unfortunately for Zero, didn't read the scene correctly. McKee actually finds a tower here. A big ultimate here from a McKee. Gonna go ahead and keep his team maybe a little bit, maybe a little questionable ult there. Just wanted to make sure that D guy was gonna be able to get away. D-Guy's
been absolutely playing very well, giving a lot of healthy vision I can understand you saying that the ultimate might have been a little bit of premature, unnecessary, but I do think securing the safety of such a critical player on your team is definitely it's definitely worth the cautionary tale.
Yeah, and right now, having a little bit of trouble here in this early game. Where is this damage going to come from them right now? Canyon already having a great time here, pretty much getting to a point where he's going to be unstoppable as long as he keeps up those stacks. You can already see that Hunter Strike being picked up by Ari. Down here at the bottom, 3 members onto Keontae Dope, and they find the kill with that fracture from Ari. Leo and the rest of BOM just a little late to kind of counter this, and they hesitate. They sit in the bush instead of trying to counter this push, and it just might be a little bit of a communication error on them, and UH is having a great time when it comes to pushing in these turrets.
Absolutely tough. Keontae seeing his first fatality of the matchup, but hopefully it doesn't get too far into his head and he can just get back to doing what he needs to do. Again, we saw him a little bit delayed in some of the team fights previously in last match, but we have been seeing him be a little bit more present this matchup. So as long as he doesn't allow that first death to alter and stunt him in the wrong direction, we could still definitely see an explosive Yuzong in this matchup.
It's just
It's going to be tough for the Bring Out Madness team to come back into play, but UH isn't out of the danger zone yet.
Well, even their marksman is having trouble right now, and I'm very dubious as to what you do after you have Keontae Dope go in. Even at a perfect team fight where the Black Dragon gets executed out there during the team fight, dives into the back lane, you're really hoping for them to ignore and not spread out so Fish Gaming can get a yin-yang overturn at this point in the game, because Ciro's not farmed up, and he's going to be the biggest wealth of damage there besides Clay Teasy. Oh, McKee in a little bit of trouble, does activate that ultimate. He might be in trouble. They decide not to chase from the flank. You can see Ari getting caught there, looking for airlines activated. D-Guy flying out, decides against settling on that ultimate and gets himself back out of harm's way. Still 3-1 right now. Bring Out Madness narrowly hanging on.
Absolutely. And I do think that the team composition of BOM might make it a little bit more difficult for them to have direct team fights, but I do think the sustainability, again, for Keontae Dope and for Kletzy does open up a little bit more of a split push capability if they can make it happen. But so far, we haven't seen it working out for them, as they haven't taken down a single tower on the side of UH yet.
Well, we did see that Keontae Dope picked up that Sea Halberd, so he's going to have that anti-heal if he can dive onto the right part of this team. But you can see them doing a good job. The problem is their composition doesn't really speak well for what they're trying to accomplish here. The side of UH doing a great job of staying spread apart. Not until that Nether Realm comes out from McKee, then they kind of group up to kind of take that. But right now, they're like, you see how spread out they are. It doesn't really add a lot of opportunities for Keontae Dope to kind of get in there in mid, to get those ultimates off, to get Fish Gaming in there with the Yin Yang overturn as well.
It's true. It's true. It hurts, but it's true. The side of BOM doesn't have a whole lot in any real direction for them to capitalize. So like, again, I was talking about the split push capabilities that are there, but they're not so present that they're just able to lock it in with no issue.
Right now, we do push up the top lane. We lose a non-luminous Lord right now, so Bring Out Madness going to have to kind of get on their P's and Q's. Definitely want to see how UH kind of treats this. Are they going to go ahead, lock down all the lanes, make sure, yep, you can see it. And this is kind of the perfect positioning when you get a Lord. This is exactly how you want it. You want it to go to one of your edge lanes so that the most amount of pressure that you can put on, you'll have at the top. That's the biggest tower you want to take if you have a bottom Lord traversing the map. This is going to leave it open. That means that the rest of them are going to have to kind of run around to kind of stop it. You can see how spread out that BOM here is with this mid lane push. This is the mistake that AI made. Ooh, Fish Gaming comes in with the Yin overturn, getting burst down by Seth, and unfortunately, Leo doesn't have that bulwark to go ahead and block and reflect some of those shots, so they lose that mid lane tower. Lord coming down at the bottom, and now up at the top. A great job by Canyon to take out that top. We are left to only inhibitors. Conceal play comes out. Leo comes in, is going to try to reflect some of it. We have the Numenor Blast, catches two, but the rest of the team goes for the top targets. The only ones that didn't get caught with the Numenor Blast. Little bit of a misplay there from BOM, not able to make anything happen here, and UH beginning to extend their lead.
It's so tough. It's so tough for the side of BOM to effectively lock down what they're wanting to. Even when they do get good explosive plays like that, still being 7,000 gold behind definitely shows the value. It's so hard to keep up when everybody else on the enemy team is so much more developed. It's so much of a threat that even when you're looking at those three, even when you have the numbers advantage, they're so far ahead in gold that those matchups, you're really worried about losing when you don't need to.
Yeah, it's a very slow and methodical push. I almost feel like UH could be more aggressive, could kind of like try to wipe the floor, but they're being very respectful here, methodical. They're doing it's like textbook Mobile Legends, how to kind of take the map, focus on the mid lane first, and that opens up the jungle for you. Start taking out those side towers one by one, and then focus down on the bottom or topmost tower so that the Lord goes there, and then you focus on the other towers when that Lord push happens. It's just everything is very methodical, very textbook here against BOM.
It's tough, man. It's tough because we see the side of UH so respectful and so passive, and they're not doing a whole lot on the map except for taking the enemy team's jungle while they all sit in a bush. It's tough because I understand that the team of BOM is waiting to try to get a nice jump and trying to make something happen, but they're giving so much up while doing it. Giving up a Lord, giving up their jungle. It's tough.
Yeah, you see that gold lead growing even more, almost a 10K gold lead here at the 13-minute. And it has been, except for a few short bursts in the early game, it has basically been all UH here with that gold lead. And it's very difficult to tell what they need to do. Well, I can tell you one thing that BOM need to do is they all need to be on the same page. Leo had has some great sets, and it's on the team. And I've been saying this like a broken record for the last two series. Is it's on them to kind of capitalize on it after that set comes out. You need to be very reactive, very synergized for it. Ooh, Fish actually eats himself a fracture. Ari doubles up, is able to go ahead and find the kill. Look at all those marks all over the map, telling me that Nolan is no longer a threat here. That man is a monster. 3-0-2 on Ari right now, and absolutely ate up Fish Gaming. Black Dragon is out. Gonna go ahead and try to contest this Lord up at top. You can see Canyon over there tanking up all of the damage. They do have a Petrify that lands onto the back line. Appraiser's Wrath comes out. Seth takes down the tower. Look at all the damage coming out to BOM. They are getting destroyed right now, and out comes the ultimate from Ramus to keep his team top up. Leo gonna get taken down as well now, and Zero and Fish Gaming are last on the lot. Zero alone here, alone, naked and cold is this core that is about to be taken by UNH. Game 2 going to UNH over BOM.
Man, oh man, what a second matchup. So much domination coming from the side of the University of Hawaii, doing an absolutely great job of representing themselves in a positive manner to show dominance not only in the match, but potentially for the entire state of Hawaii. They're just saying, hey, you might not see a whole lot of us, but we are here and we're thriving and we're coming.
It was a great game played by them. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm kind of at the point that we need to just take out Nolan. Because BOM, they're just having trouble. There's these little mistakes that they make throughout the game that UH is just absolutely hammering and punishing them for. Whether it's Canyon, who just had a great game on his Uranus. I mean, not as many kills or a ton. You can see there 45% damage tanked there. So, man, a impressive game by BOH.
It's tough, man. I can feel the pressure on the side of BOM. Just knowing that the 2-0. They've got so much.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to the composition too. I especially these double kind of roamy support utility picks that you get with the Matilda and the Faramis on the same team. There's so much going on to protect your team.